Well, listen, one of the coolest things about me as an NFL player is that I played with some of the best that have ever done it, including starting 7 games at left guard with this guy in the backfield, the NFL's all-time leading rusher, Emmitt Smith. Good to see you, man. How are you?
Ross, I am good, brother. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, man. How are you? I mean, how's your body?
My body's great.
Is it really?
Yeah, man. I stretch every morning, hit my knees, hit my prayers, do a lot of child's poses and cat poses and stretch out the glutes and get the lower back and everything rolling, the hammies and all, and quads. I'm good.
Dude, I do yoga. So I used to have to go to the chiropractor. I had a back surgery in Buffalo. I used to go to chiropractor like twice a week. Ever since I started doing yoga,
right,
twice a week,
right.
I haven't been to the chiropractor since.
Well, you know, tight muscles, they say muscles pull bones and pull ligaments and joints. And because when a muscle get tight, it's obviously pulling on something.
Right.
And so staying loose is one of the keys to having a good spine and all that, good hips. Now, don't get me wrong. There are days when I'm moving around like this and walking around a lot, playing golf or walking the golf course, my hips and knees get tight and sore. I do get sore, don't get me wrong, but I bounce back fairly quickly.
How old are you?
55, about to turn 56 this
year. But I mean, to play as long as you did,
right.
Someone texted me a picture. I guess we're playing the Eagles. It was a Saturday night game. That's the game where we found out earlier in the day that Jerry Jones had met with Parcells at Teterboro Airport.
Exactly.
We walked into the locker room that night and
got smashed.
We did. But that was your 200th game. And at the time, you were the 3rd guy to ever play in 200 games, running back. The other 2, Marcus Allen, Ernest Biner.
Wow.
So not many guys have done it. So I'm happy to hear that you still feel good.
Yeah, I do. I can't complain because the one thing that I learned throughout the game of football before everything became extra popular, I hear about Derrick Henry spending an incredible amount of money on his body, LeBron James and everything.
Yeah.
Players are starting to take care of their bodies because this is how you make a living. This is how you create longevity. This is how you leave the game and you be healthy after the game because you took care of things that took care of you, which is the body. And I still take pride in what I do right now. I still see my chiropractor. I don't get massages as much as I used to because I'm not beat on as much, but I can still use at least a massage a week. And chiropractor at least once or twice a month. And so if I incorporate once or twice a month massages, a week with massages wise, and once or twice a month consistent with my chiropractor, I'll be fine.
What were you doing when you were playing, like later in your career?
When I was playing, not even later. I mean, I was doing this probably from 95 on to 2004, maybe 94 all the way up. Matter of fact, it was like 90. It was like Super Bowl, the second Super Bowl.
Okay.
I started incorporating 2 massages a week.
Okay.
And getting to a chiropractor as much as I could. I would see a chiropractor probably once a week. But the massages would be 2 hours each. 2 hours on a Monday.
Wow.
After a game, just to flush out the lactic acid. And then when I got to Friday, another flush out just to make sure all the things that was left over throughout the week was gone. And then I go into the games on very fresh on Sundays. So when I met my chiro, the guy that I see right now, met him in 95, right before the 95 season began. And he had this methodology around muscle interactive therapy, connecting muscles, connecting tissues. And I learned so much from this man that I use him today. He advised me or give me his opinion on certain things, medication as well, and so forth and on and on. How to eat. He taught me all those kind of things, and I just started incorporating it into my in my process. And I think by doing it, he helped extend my career another 10 years.
Wow. You know, the story I always tell people when they ask me about you, Emmitt, is, well, first of all, so I grew up outside of Philly. So I grew up a huge Eagles fan.
Right.
So when you were starting, like, you know, it was crazy to be in the locker room with you because I was like, I hated you. You know what I mean? Like I hated all the Cowboys. You know, and you guys were always winning and you were always beating the Eagles. Then we're teammates, but you're not a big guy, and you weren't. At least when I played with you, you didn't have like crazy speed or burst. And we probably had the worst O-line in the league. I mean, we were not good in 2002. Emmitt, you still got yards. I have no idea. I mean, think about that. Not a big guy. You know, you were at that point 34 years old, however old you were. So you didn't have quite the same burst. And we never got up. But you still always, like, found a nook or cranny, and you were able to get – it was really, really impressive.
Well, you know, my vision was still intact. My instincts were still intact. And I didn't need a whole lot.
Right.
But you guys created enough space for me to be able to be effective still at a later stage in my life. And I knew the game. And knowing the game from a mental standpoint can also help supersede anything that you do physically within the game. And so the combination of the two works best. Especially for a player that wants to have longevity, because knowledge is power and longevity is taking care of your body and training and preparing yourself for what you're about to go through as the season goes on. And even during the season, there's things that you must do to continue to stay healthy.
I can't remember when you went in the Hall of Fame.
2010.
I watched the speech, and when you had Moose stand up, and I didn't play with Moose. He was retired by the time I was there. But, like, to me, like, I could almost get choked up. You know what I mean? Like, that was everything. What you said about Moose, and the offensive line and Larry Allen and all those guys, what you said about those guys was all great. But when you got to Moose and you talked about his sacrifice and what you did, like, that, to me, is what the whole thing's about.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we all make sacrifices. Some just make more sacrifices than others. And Moose made a ton of sacrifices, not only for myself, but for our whole entire offense. It's just he was that guy, that the unsung hero. And the one thing I've learned through my life and through people who have poured into my life is to always share the spotlight with those guys up front. The 5 guys up front, we talk about them all the time, yourself and everything else. But when it comes down to that unique individual that most people don't overlooking all the time, because I get a lot of pats on the back for what I've done and everything else. But when it comes down to recognizing somebody, I needed him and I needed everyone else to understand how precious of a man he is and what he did for our offense. Not only for our offense, but what he did for me as an individual player. And so I could not be the complete running back that I am without having Moose Johnson in front of me.
It's awesome. My first game with the Cowboys, you guys picked me up off waivers midway through the 2002 season. Redskins cut me. You guys picked me up. I happened to be walking out of the locker room behind you for that first game. It was the Seattle game where you broke the record.
Right.
And I'm walking out behind you. It's only my second team I'm playing for. All the cameras are on you. And I was like, man, playing for the Cowboys is different. Like, he's just walking out to the field, and there's like 20 cameras. How do you feel about sort of the running back resurgence this year in the NFL, especially older guys? You know, like guys that are late 20s or, you know, at Saquon's 7th year. Derrick Henry's getting up there. Even like Joe Mixon on his 3rd contract.
Right.
There was a thought for a long time there, Emmitt. Don't even give a running back a 2nd contract.
Right.
And now these guys in their late 20s, early 30s are showing they can still do it. Does that make you happy?
Yeah, it does. And what it does is it just reconfirms what was already there. The league itself, and people really have to look at the game and then take a step back from the game and analyze the game from 50,000-foot view. The messages that they want to put out there, they put it out there. Owners put it out there. And people perceive it as credibility. Well, it is credibility because it's coming from an owner. But when you really look at the strategy of the game and how the game is evolving around the passing game.
Yep.
RPOs.
Yep.
You're starting to see a lot of the college-style football being played at the NFL level, because that's the way these kids have been trained. And coordinators are natural passers by trait, not runners.
No.
Not runners. And so, therefore, if I had a choice to throw the ball or run the ball, I'm going to throw the ball. And
there aren't a lot of former running backs offensive coordinators, or running back coaches becoming offensive coordinators.
Exactly. And so these are all former quarterbacks that had the desire to be a number one guy but couldn't cut it to be a number one guy. But they were smart guys, great students of the game. And Stephen A.
We got Stephen A. Smith coming up to say hi to Emmitt real quick.
Boy, man, how you doing? What's going on?
Good, man. You good?
I'm great.
All time great.
What's up, man? Good to see you, Stephen. How are you?
That was lovely.
That was awesome. That was awesome. We got the Lombardi Trophy. We got the NFL's all-time.
And we got legends right here in front of us. The
tequila. Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Oh, man, this is legends. This right here was the first master distillery of a female master distillery.
Oh, wow.
Distiller for Hedador brand. And this is her brand. It's called Legends, and it is smooth. She knew what she was doing.
Tequila's popular these days,
Tequila
man.
has become a huge, huge category. I've been with the Tequila Hedador since 2010.
Wow.
So I've been working with them for 14 years now, and I still believe it's the finest tequila on the market. Top shelf tequila. You have this one. We also have Hedador Ultra, the Añejo, Cristalino version, and we also have the regular Añejo version. Now, the one thing about this tequila and this brand, they invented the reposado category.
Oh, okay.
The whole reposado category came from this family.
They tell you, by the way, like doctors will tell you, that's the best, like tequila is like the healthiest alcohol to drink.
If there is such a thing as having a healthy alcohol.
Correct. But like, you're better, like I'm like an IPA beer guy. They're like, can't you just sip on some tequila? I'm like, no, I can't. But
I can. I do all the time. I do all the time.
All right, I got two more for you.
Yeah.
Saquon.
Yes.
I can't remember a guy with this many house calls like this. Like I can't remember a guy that every game it seems like he has a 60, 70-yarder. Can you? Was there a guy? I mean, you had some big runs, but he's had like eight touchdowns.
Terrell Davis.
In the Broncos years.
His Bronco years, when he went for over 2,000 yards, he had a ton of house calls.
Interesting.
A ton of house calls. Yes. And, yeah. In that offense, he ripped it up.
Yeah.
And so Saquon is doing what he's supposed to do. And what I love about it is the Eagles are giving him the opportunity to do it.
Yep.
There's a commitment.
Oh,
there.
yeah.
And that's the difference between what you're talking about in terms of the resurgence of running backs.
Yeah.
Is the commitment is starting to change, because the quarterbacks, I ain't saying that they're bad, but you're putting entirely too much pressure and too much weight on the passing game.
Right.
And you need to have that running game to bring some kind of stability and balance and respect. And respect to the game.
And you guys always had it in Dallas. Last question I got to ask you, what's kind of your opinion on our old squad, the Cowboys, and where they are with things right now?
You know, they say opinion like buttholes. Everybody got one, including I. Oh, man, I just think that there's a disconnect or there's not an alignment in terms of vision and commitment to the operations of the football program.
Right.
I'm going to say it like that, the football program. There's always been a vision for the brand development of the Dallas Cowboys. But when that brand itself is not aligned, there's one thing to have brand excellence. It's another thing to create poor product. And poor product is what we have not. We have not produced championship quality product.
Right. Hey, thanks so much for coming on the show, man. Great to see you're involved with the Legends tequila, and good to see you in person again, man.
Likewise, my friend.
Thanks so much.
Enjoy that bottle now. You can pop that open with. Can we get 2 cups? Can we get 2 cups? Jennifer, can I get 2 cups? I'm about to pop this bottle of Legends open.